Good Wednesday afternoon, everybody. Welcome to another edition of the MEAC More here on the HBCU Sports YouTube channel with your host, Chris Stevens. Hopefully, you all are doing well out there. And of course, as you can see, I am still waiting for a warm up. I'm wearing a hoodie. I have the heat on in my house on May 28th, 2025. It is 57 degrees. It is raining, and I need a nap. But before I do that, I'm going to give you guys what we always do here on the HBCU Sports YouTube channel, and that's the latest and greatest in all of Black college sports. This is the MEAC More, which means I will be covering everything Mid-Eastern Athletic Conference, and as well as our other Division I friends, at Hampton, Tennessee State, and North Carolina A&T. But before we get to that, this edition of the MEAC More is sponsored by my personal YouTube channel, the Chris 2 Cent Show by Chris Stevens. If you're wondering what that's all about, I talk about everything over there related to writing, which includes my journalism career, my creative writing. I'm actually going to be announcing a brand new novel project that I'm just about finished. It starts, I'll probably end up dropping that release date sometime in the next 3 or 4 days or so. It'll probably be up Monday. But yeah, as you guys can see, you are more than welcome to go to that link, youtube.com/@Chris Stevens Writes. Feel free to check me out there when I'm talking about everything that doesn't have anything to do with HBCU sports, but it's still related to journalism and my writing career as a whole. So I want to thank everybody for tuning in. Shouts out to Ladarius Arsenault. Thank you for checking in. ODB, the A&T Hall of Famer. Welcome aboard. Silas McMorris. Thank you, sir. Glad to be here. Glad to have y'all on board. And today, yes. So we got a packed show for you. It's going to be football heavy, as it always is around these parts, because we know that's what y'all came to see. That's what Jalen Hurts said after the Eagles bombed on. I forget who the Eagles bombed on, and he showed up to the press conference and said, so that's what y'all wanted to see, right? Well, that's what y'all were going to see. We're going to talk football. We're going to talk non-conference schedule, and I have every non-conference schedule for each MEAC team and the 3 HBCUs that are playing in other Division I conferences. So let's get started. These are going in alphabetical order, by the way. So let's go ahead and shout out to Christopher Dukes. We appreciate the JSU love. Even if this is a MEAC show, we'll take all the viewers and listeners that we can get. Trust me. So yeah. All right. So first on the docket for the MEAC non-conference schedules for 2025 is the Delaware State University. That's my alma mater, of course. As you can see, we have a very diverse, if you want to call it that, non-conference schedule. We start at the University of Delaware on August 28th. I will be in the building for that one. Albany State, well, not Albany State, excuse me, University of Albany up in New York, another coastal athletic team, will be, that's Deshaun Jackson's first home game, Saturday, September 6th. Very interested to see the turnout for that one, because DSU crowds really don't fool with PWI schools that much. They really don't. And that is a very... And Albany was a really good team in the coastal last year. So, that would be an interesting schedule. Bowie State visits Delaware State September 13th. The last time Bowie State came to DSU, Bowie State won. Shouts out to my HBCU sports colleague, Jared Hoffman. They won that game. It was 22-13, if I'm not mistaken, or 22-11, either one of the two. Either way, it looked really bad. And that was how we kind of knew that the Lee Hull era was going to be a little bit of a... shall we say, a step back. And that's no disrespect to Coach Hall. Great guy, but, he was just in the wrong place at the wrong time. Next up on the schedule is at St. Francis of Pennsylvania on September 12th. Now, this is interesting because if you guys relate to this or you forgot, St. Francis is moving to Division III in 2026. So this is the last time. This is the last time that DSU will probably visit St. Francis. Anytime St. Francis and Delaware State play, is probably going to be a guarantee game for St. Francis from this point moving forward. So the next non-conference game on the schedule is at Sacred Heart, which was Delaware State's only win last year on September 27th. That's my birthday weekend. I will not be spending my birthday weekend in Fairfield, Connecticut. I can tell you that right now. And then they play at Monmouth on October 4th. So a lot of their non-conference schedule is really Northeast Conference heavy. Of course, you have UD, who has moved up to the FBS level in Conference USA. And then, of course, you have Bowie State from the CIAA. So very interesting schedule. Now, if you had to make me pick how many of these games Delaware State will win, I want to say 3 because I think they can beat Bowie State. Hopefully they beat Bowie State. Oh my God, if they lose to Bowie State again, man, we got problems. So we got Bowie State coming in on the 13th. I think that's a win. I don't know. I don't know if Albany returns a lot of that team that made it to the FCS playoffs last year, but the home game atmosphere, maybe that's a win. I do think they beat St. Francis, and I do think they beat Sacred Heart again. I don't know too much about Monmouth. I mean, Delaware, UD is going to be interesting because, again, they're in the transitional phase of moving from FCS to FBS. So maybe they catch UD slipping. I don't know. But yeah, I see maybe 3 wins possible because I don't know how many wins they're going to get in the MEAC, to be honest with you, because the MEAC is just that strong this year, But that's the Delaware State non-conference schedule. Moving on to the 2023 MEAC champions and the Howard Bison, they have a fun non-conference schedule. They will play Florida A&M in the Orange Blossom Classic. We actually have some quotes from Larry Scott that we're going to be talking about later on in this episode. That game is Saturday, August 30th. They go to Temple, which is right in my backyard, on a Saturday, September 6th. They host Morehouse on September 13th. Then on September 20th, the Battle of the HU. They call it the Truth and Services Classic, but it's really the Battle of the real HU. At I forget what the name of that soccer field is in DC, but that's where they'll be playing September 20th. Then they go to Richmond, who is leaving the Coastal from a football perspective. There'll be a Patriot League football squad only on September 27th. That's Richmond. Then they go to Howard goes to Sacred Heart on October 11th. Then they go to Tennessee State. I believe that's Tennessee State's homecoming. I know a Tiger will correct me if they check this out. October 18th. So Howard has lined up quite this non-conference schedule leading into MEAC play and even around MEAC play. Now, how many of these games do I see Howard winning? I see them beating Morehouse, obviously. Hampton was really good last year. Hampton did beat Howard last year, I want to say the 4th or 5th straight time. If I'm not mistaken. Adam, feel free to check me on that. Shout out to Adam Spencer. Shout out to Omar Johnson, Adrian Crook, and Christopher Dukes. Thank you all for tuning in. Let's skip the North Carolina Central. I want to talk about that upset week 0. We're going to get there, Adrian. We're going to get there. But yeah, how many wins do I see from this Howard non-conference? I see them beating Morehouse. I think they can get Sacred Heart, excuse me. I don't know about Richmond, and I don't know how much Tennessee State returns, and Temple has kind of fallen off the deep end a little bit, so that might be a bit of an upset. Florida A&M, I think that's a game they can win as well, but if you had to make me pin down a definitive number, I'd say 2-3 tops, because I really, am really interested to see how Coach Scott and his staff retools that team after losing so many great defensive players, and of course, their starting quarterback to graduation. So we move on now to Morgan State University, and Morgan State has a schedule that is good, right? A non-conference schedule that's good right up until the last one. Y'all already know what I'm talking about. So they are at South Alabama on August 30th. They host Towson in the Baltimore Battle on September 6th. They go to FBS, Toledo, September 13th. They get a bye week. Then they welcome in SIAC champion and Division II quarterfinalist. I believe they made it to the quarterfinals. Miles College on September 27th. And then they go to Georgetown, not Georgetown of Kentucky, the NAIA school, but Georgetown of Washington, D.C. I'm really still surprised that Georgetown has a football program, by the way. That's October 4th. And, of course, their last non-conference schedule, once again, the Washington Generals of Black college football, Virginia University of Lynchburg. Now, I don't like to judge, and I don't come at people who are well versed in the art of coaching football and this sort of thing. I just don't understand why our schools keep scheduling VUL. I don't get it, man. I don't. This is just my personal opinion. I don't know why. I don't know when, and I don't get it. Yeah, it's an easy win. You could pick a PWI D3 and get an easy win, but VUL. If you guys haven't seen the story I did about Virginia University of Lynchburg a couple years back, you should check it out on the HBCU Sports website. And a former coach told me about all the shenanigans that were going on there, and somehow that program is still up and running. Not a good look, but you got to get the wins where you can. I'm not going to judge. I don't know, man. Valley did beat Florida A&M last year. Valley may not be an easy win as VUL now. Adam Spencer corrects me, as I expected. Howard hasn't beaten us since the Obama administration, and Connell Maynard isn't our coach. We're not losing anytime soon. Oh, man, Coach Maynard catching all kind of shots. Good Lord. But, Yeah, that's Morgan State's non-conference schedule. Now we move on to the Michael Vick experience at Norfolk State. Norfolk State has a packed non-conference schedule as well. They will host Towson and Coach Vick's debut on August 28th. Then, of course, it's the Labor Day Classic against Virginia State on September 6th. Then they go to Rutgers on the 13th. Then they play Sacred Heart. Is Sacred Heart trying to join the MEAC low key? Because they on here 3 times already. They host Sacred Heart on the 20th. Then they go to Wagner in another Northeast Conference school on September 27th. Then they go to Hampton for the Battle of the Bay October 4th. Then they're at Wofford on the 11th. So all the talent that Mike Vick is bringing in, that talent still has to come together on the field. So I can't really say that this schedule, I mean, they should, I mean, well, then again, Virginia State was really good last year. So, I mean, I won't say that's an easy win, but they should beat Virginia State. Towson, I'm not exactly certain. I mean, again, I probably should have said how many wins I thought Morgan State had. I think I see 2, maybe 3 wins on Morgan's non-conference schedule. But for Norfolk State, I feel like if Mike Vick can beat Hampton, they beat Virginia State, and they can beat Sacred Heart, I mean, they might be able to beat Wagner too. So if they can get 4 W's out of that non-conference schedule, the MEAC should be very worried about how good that Norfolk State team is going to be coming into conference play. Silas says, I don't like the fact that my school, Prairie View, is playing Lincoln University of California for homecoming. Yeah, we got to stop scheduling these matchbox, these schools on the back of matchboxes, man. All of us. I mean, I was tired of DSU playing VUL. We played VUL like 3 straight years at one point. I was like, why? For what? For who? As the great Ricky Waters once said, for who? For what? I don't like that schedule at all. So that to me just, I mean, VUL, we gotta treat VUL like, you know, that person that comes into your favorite corner store that's obviously, you know, trying to, you know, borrow money for a fix. We got to kind of sort of, you know, say, I ain't got it today. That's how we got to start treating VUL. We got to start treating VUL like that fiend that just keeps trying to sell you cheeseburgers and stuff. Like VUL and Lincoln and California, like, we ain't got it, man. Sorry. We ain't got no cash on us today. That's how we need to be. Next up, at the request of Adrian Cook, the North Carolina Central University Eagles, led by Trey Oliver, a former North Carolina Central football standout, and they have a great schedule. I mean, they start week 0, not week 1, week 0. They play Southern August 23rd. They get a visit from New Hampshire of all schools on August 30th. Then they're at Old Dominion on September 6th. Then they host Fayetteville State on the 13th. Then they're at A&T on the 20th, at East Texas A&M. That used to be Texas Commerce, if you guys are not familiar, on September 27th. And then they go to FAMU on October 11th. Actually, Omar, you probably, what you want to do is, we got a Division II podcast here with our guy, Jared Hoffman, the Better Than Less Than. I'm certain he's going to talk about the SIAC and CIAA football schedules coming up. So be sure to subscribe to this channel and check out the Better Than Less Than podcast, because I'm sure he's going to do a Division II schedule recap as well. This is basically the Division I MEAC program for our particular brand. Adrian Crook predicts the Jaguars with 21-14 W, and Christopher Dukes, of course, gives it right back and says A&T should win the opener easily. I don't know. Central lost some key pieces to graduation. They lost the 1,000-yard back Jamari Taylor to the transfer portal. They do have Harris Walker returning as the starting quarterback. So I don't think this A&T team is going to be a slouch either. That Southern game is going to be interesting though, because Southern did win the SWAC West last year, and Terrence Graves did a phenomenal job building that team on the fly. And I think they still have a chance to win the SWAC West again this year. Even though Prairie View A&M has a brand new coach, and Texas Southern looked a lot better than they did last year. Ken Rashad's Grambling Tigers? I don't know. Sorry, boss. I don't know. But if you had to make me pick, of course Of course, I think they beat Fayetteville State. I think they beat A&T, and yeah, Lawrence. I do think they beat New Hampshire. I don't know that much about East Texas A&M other than Grambling beat them last year, so I guess I'll give that nod to Central. So I got 4 wins. Wait, did I call Central A&T, Chris? Shucks, my bad. Oh man, my fault. But it's hard to memorize all of this stuff when you're going on the fly. But yeah, if you had to make me pick, I would say that I see 4 wins at least out of the schedule for Central. At least 4. Last but certainly not least in the MEAC realm, we have the 2024 MEAC champion South Carolina State Bulldogs. Go Dogs! Shout out to Coach Chennis Berry. And they have a very interesting schedule on tap. They have Wofford. They host Wofford on August 30th. Then they go to the Big House at South Carolina in Columbia on September 6th. They host Bethune-Cookman on the 13th. They're at South Florida on the 20th. They're at Charleston Southern on the 27th. Then they host A&T. Yes, not North Carolina Central, North Carolina A&T on October 11th. So if you had to make me pick, this is the point of all of this. I see him beating Wofford. I see him beating Bethune. I see him beating Charleston Southern. And I see him beating A&T. I don't know that much about South Florida. I don't know, but I do know that South Carolina was a pretty good FBS squad last year. And that's always in, sort of like we're just happy to be there kind of thing. Even though Coach Berry's going to have his guys ready to play, it's just going to be one of those things where we get there, we're happy to be there, get our guys healthy, and get them on out of there. So I got 4 wins at least for South Carolina State coming off of this schedule. So that is our MEAC portion. Now we move on to the more. We have our good friends, the defending Big South OVC champion Tennessee State Tigers. Of course, with them having 9 teams in their conference, they're going to play 8 Big South OVC games, so their non-conference schedule is kind of limited. But the good news is 3 out of 4 of these non-conference games are HBCUs. They will host North Carolina A&T August 30th. They will face North Dakota State on September 6th. And this was smart to get North Dakota State this early when it's still hot as hell in Nashville, Tennessee. Because I can tell you, those kids coming from North Dakota are going to come down there and literally just be butt naked until time to get on the field, because that heat, that Tennessee heat is something different. So that's a smart scheduling move by Tennessee State. They will play Alabama A&M in I can't remember the name of the classic, but it's a classic game that they have set up, or it might just be a home and home. I'm not sure. But they'll face Sam Shade and the Alabama A&M Bulldogs September 13th. Then they will host the Howard University Bison on October 18th. So I see 3 wins on the schedule, and I can guarantee you which 3 they are. I don't see them beating North Dakota State, but North Carolina A&T, they have some things to work out, even though they have a brand new coach. We'll talk about that in a minute. And Alabama A&M also is going to be entering a new era with Sam Shade, and Tennessee State went up to Howard last year for homecoming and just put the beats to that Bison squad. And I'm sure Howard's going to be very upset about that. Very upset about that. But being upset about it and doing something about it are 2 entirely different things. And Reggie Barlow, I believe, is not going to, be too far of a drop off from Eddie George. So I have Tennessee State winning 3 out of their 4 non-conference games. So we move on to the Coastal Athletic Association and the Hampton Pirates, and they will be at Jackson State on August 30th. They will host Elizabeth City State on September 6th, the aforementioned Truth and Services Classic in DC against Howard on the 20th of September. And then, of course, that should be October 4th, not October 11th. That's my bad. So they will host Norfolk State in the Battle of the Bay on October 4th. So how many of these games do I see Hampton winning? I see maybe 2. I think they'll beat Elizabeth City State. That's the given. But Howard probably going to be mad that they haven't beaten Hampton in a while. I think they'll be up for that one. What does Norfolk State look like by the time they get to Hampton? That's going to be the big question. Jackson State right now is the best in Black college football. It's not even close. And I'm a MEAC guy, and I love South Carolina State. I was very impressed with how Chennis Berry built that. Well, not built the program, because Buddy Pugh didn't leave the cupboard bare by any stretch of the imagination. But I mean, he literally left some talent there. But Chennis Berry brought some kids in that could do the doggone thing. And that doesn't surprise me at all. So, I mean, it was a pleasant surprise to see South Carolina State be that good last year, but Jackson State is the best team in black college football by a country mile. I mean, I know that's not going to go over very well with a lot of the folks from different SWAC schools that tune into this channel, but I watched Jackson State plenty of times last year, and I was just like, damn. TC Taylor's done a wonderful job refurbishing that program, and I don't see anybody in the SWAC giving Jackson State a run for their money for the conference championship anytime soon. But yes, I mean, Hampton, I mean, they didn't look bad last year. I mean, they literally won 5 of their last 6 games in a very good Coastal Athletic Association. So, it wouldn't surprise me if they did win 3 out of 4. It wouldn't surprise me, but I really am interested to see how that Pirate team looks this year and if they can make some noise in the Coastal, which is going to look a lot different now that UD and Richmond are gone. And now we move on to the last team on our schedule of MEAC and More non-conference schedule. We have the North Carolina A&T Aggies. They will be at Tennessee State on August 30th. They will be at Central Florida on September 6th. They will get a visit from the hated North Carolina Central Eagles in the Aggie Eagle Classic on September 20th. Then they will get a visit from the defending MEAC champion South Carolina State Bulldogs on October 11th. Now, Sean Gibbs is a great coach. Absolutely. He knows this A&T program like most of us know the back of our hands. He's a phenomenal coach. He's got some work to do in cleaning out the residue, if you will, of the Vincent Brown era. And that, again, this is no slight on Vincent Brown. I mean, this is a dude who graduated from Mississippi Valley State, so he knows black college football, but that A&T position was just kind of like, I guess it just wasn't for him. I mean, we all have had jobs where we're just not a fit. I mean, we got the job, but we found out after a while that we weren't a fit for it. We've all been guilty of that. I just talked about that. I talked about that on my YouTube channel this week, by the way, about, not being, right for a job or whatever. But yeah, I feel like Sean Gibbs is going to have this team play a lot better, but I don't know if they can beat Tennessee State. I mean, I don't know that much about Central Florida. I mean, I know they're FBS, and that's always like a scary situation. I think Central's still going to be better, and I still think South Carolina State is going to be better. So I don't see any wins last year. Silas brings up a great point. Grambling did take care of business against Jackson State last year. Don't get it twisted. They really did. That was about the only highlight that Grambling had all year. Sorry, boss. I'm just saying. But yeah, I don't know how many wins I can conceivably pick out of this. I would probably say there would be 2 upsets, and I would say I'd say either Tennessee State or Central. Those would be the 2 upsets. I don't know if they can beat South Carolina State because South Carolina State has had their no, please, dear God, no. See, Adrian, this is why you always in trouble in the chat, man. These losers are coming back soon. I had a dream that JSU would go 3-8 4 years straight and fire TC, and I had a dream that Ed Reed. No, please, no more Ed Reed. Ed Reed should be a banned word, a banned phrase on this YouTube channel. That's why. Remember, God, Around the Horn, man. I miss Around the Horn already. Around the Horn was one of my favorite shows. And Tony Reale used to have banned words. We need to start banning words on the HBCU Sports YouTube channel. And Ed Reed and Ray Lewis need to be the ones that are on the banned list. Make no mistake about it. But yeah, those are our non-conference schedules as of now. There's some FBS flavor. There's some Division II. There's some VUL on there. Unfortunately, that kind of brings the flavor down a little bit, but I think it's interesting in the case of the MEAC because they have a lot more latitude to play with than say Hampton, A&T, and Tennessee State, because the Coastal has 12, 13 football teams, and that's after UD and Richmond leaving. And the OVC has 10 schools. 10. Yeah, 10. 10. Big South OVC Coalition has 10. So shout out Stephen Campbell checking in the chat. He says, If they don't clip Tennessee State, A&T is only getting 1 win. That's interesting. I mean, I have to do a little bit more research on the Coastal, but yeah, I mean, but the Coastal's always been tough anyway, so that wouldn't surprise me. But I think, yeah, if you had to make me pick, their best bets for wins for A&T is Tennessee State or North Carolina Central. But the MEAC has a lot more room to play with the non-conference schedule than, say, the SWAC, the CAA, and the Big South OVC schools. There's just a lot of, you got to fill it in because you only got 5 opponents in your conference schedule. So you got to find the other 6 or 7 games from somewhere. And I guess that's probably why I should kind of relax a little bit on Morgan State playing VUL. But I just hate VUL from the standpoint of they don't mean anything. I mean, they don't do anything that benefits those kids. Like, I don't think that former coach, Coach Edwards, literally just sit there with me for 2 hours on a Sunday morning and just make up lies. I just don't see that happening. And then you had kids posting things like, holes in the floorboards and the dorms and all of that stuff. I mean, it's like VUL is just not who our schools need to be playing. And even though VUL is an HBCU, they need to get their house in order before they try to become an athletic powerhouse, because they've never won more than 2 games in any of the years since they came back. I mean, maybe actually they won 4 one year when Bobby Rome was the head coach, but that is the testament to how good of a coach Coach Rome is. I probably should have added Chicago State schedule to this. Maybe I'll do them next week. But overall, I just feel like these non-conference schedules are the best that these schools could have come up with. And it feels like we're probably going to have this conversation again in 2026 regarding how we schedule non-conference games, because I don't know what the MEAC, has in store in terms of expansion, because like I said last week, there aren't going to be any CIAA schools coming up or SIAC schools coming up, even though there is apparently a buzz that Tuskegee might be moving up. All that means is Tuskegee's moving to the SWAC. That's about it. That's basically it. If Tuskegee's moving up, they're going to the SWAC. I don't see them going, anywhere else. So, but yeah, I mean, I know there was the once exciting rumor that Morehouse was coming to the MEAC. I don't know if that's going to happen. I mean, they talking about it, but I just don't see it happening. Stephen Campbell says the SWAC doesn't want Tuskegee. Now, I don't see Tuskegee moving to the MEAC just from a logistical standpoint, because if a former Florida A&M AD was complaining about the drive to Dover, Delaware being tough, I can imagine Reginald Ruffin doesn't want to make that drive from Tuskegee, Alabama to Dover, Delaware either. So if A&T's talking about, if A&T, why do I have A&T on the brain? Because they're on the screen. Let me get back on the screen. My bad. But yes, if you had to make me pick, I just don't see what the MEAC can do, from a long-term perspective, unless there's just like this about face with respect to how many schools want to move up to Division I, or if Hampton wants to come back, or if A&T wants to come back. Those are the only options we have right now as the MEAC, and I just don't see that happening. So it's tough. You can't ask UMES to add football. You can't ask, you damn sure can't ask Coppin State to add football, because Coppin State is in the heart of West Baltimore. You're not knocking down houses to build a football stadium. You're just not. You're just not. So, but those are our non-conference schedules. And we also had I saw some interesting comments, because I wrote a story for the website about the Orange Blossom. ODB says the MEAC needs Tuskegee more than the SWAC. That's true. That's true. But if A&T, if Tuskegee can't afford it, then it's a null and void conversation, pretty much. But yes, as I'm trying to say, the Orange Blossom Classic press conference was last week, and of course, this is Howard visiting Miami to play Florida A&M and that. And of course, these are the teams that played in the very first Orange Blossom Classic way back during the Great Depression, 1933. So this is a game that is going, they took a bit of a break between the 80s, 90s, and early 2000s, but this is a game that has generational roots. Adam Spencer says, I don't buy into travel concerns anymore. Tuskegee to Houston is like going up the street. Oh, A&T Roy says, North Carolina A&T. Now I can say North Carolina A&T without stumbling over myself. We're knocking down houses to build a turf soccer field and some other stuff. Stephen Campbell says if Tuskegee goes, then the MEAC needs to add Clark and Savannah State or Fort Valley. Remember, Stephen, Savannah State was a member of the MEAC for a decade, and they said we can't pay the toll, so they went back to Division II. I don't think Savannah State's coming back. What Lisa Stansfield say? And I don't think he's coming back. Coming back. Yeah. I did too much lying. All right, let me stop. Lionel Williams, shouts out to Lionel Williams checking in. He says the only way that would happen is if the MEAC had enough schools that you would have to have a Southern Division and a Northern Division. We used to have those once upon a time. When Savannah State and Winston-Salem State were there, that's when we did have a North and a South. Hey man, I got vocals. Chill on my vocals, ODB. Shout out to the boss man, Kim Rashad. He's got a great point. Savannah State is not making that mistake again. They are not by any stretch of the imagination. So the MEAC, shout out to Jared Hoffman. Once again, if you want your Division II fix, your SIAC, your CIAA, your HBCU AC, better than less than with Jared Hoffman coming up this week as well. Also, we got a live roundtable show coming up on Friday. We're gonna have some fun with that, I guarantee you. So, we're gonna end May with a bang with the roundtable. But if you want your Division II news, and Jared, go check out the Better Than Less Than podcast anyway, because Jared Hoffman had a great interview with Zoe Ledette, the NIL queen, the distance runner from West Virginia. Well, actually, she's in the transfer portal now, but she was at West Virginia State, and she's the NIL queen. Like, she's making paper. And Jared had a wonderful interview with her on the Better Than Less Than podcast. I highly recommend you check that out. So yes, on to the last topic of the day before we head on out of here. The Orange Blossom Classic press conference was last week. And Larry Scott, the Howard head coach, had some very interesting comments. I clipped 2 videos from it, and I'm going to share the first one with you now about NIL. Here we go.
Chance to lay some stake right now in college football and the landscape that it is. I think HBCUs can use the power that we do have to show the unity. I told when we were driving up here, I said, this is 27th Avenue, known as Unity Boulevard, right? So when you think about it, and as where this place sits and everything these 2 great staple HBCUs on the East Coast stand for, that couldn't have been more appropriate, unity, right? And under that scope, we can continue to build. I think this is an exciting time also in this landscape where we fall back on the shoulders of the giants that built who we are and what we stand for. We can continue to push in a different trajectory that still implies all of the things that we are into this for, which is higher education. I think in this new landscape of NIL and all those type of things, there's a big word that seems to get missing here, and it's the value of a degree. And the value of education. And I think as long as we take the platform that we do have, stand on those shoulders of the giants that we do represent, we can take our universities and our football program and our academics and everything that we stand for and what we do, and can take it into another stratosphere using NIL. Name, image, and likeness. Think about that for 1 second. Name, image, and likeness. If we fall back on all of those greats that we've talked about, and all of the people that helped us be where we are right now, in this new landscape, we can truly push our brands, push our young student athletes and into another height.
So yeah, those are Coach Scott's comments on NIL, and I've got another clip that I'm going to play in a minute. But let me get to this chat. Here's Stephen Campbell starting to trash talk already. Hey Howard, are you going to show up in Miami? Well, this is where I try to give a lot of HBCUs grace, because I mean traveling has. There are some HBCUs that travel. We know Florida A&M travels. We know Jackson State travels. We know Grambling travels. We know A&T travels. And then, you have some that just kind of sort of are there. And hopefully Howard does. Who wouldn't want to spend Labor Day weekend? No, that's not Labor Day weekend. Yes, it is. Yeah, because Labor Day is the first Monday in September, right? And September 1st is on a Monday, right? I hope I'm correct. So if that's the case, then why not spend Labor Day weekend at the Orange Blossom? That would be a fun trip, honestly. Oh yeah, let me get to these comments about Savannah State real quick before I get in on Coach Scott's NIL comment. Shouts out to Mr. Jackson. He says Savannah State can make that jump again if Shay put $10 million into the athletic department rather than give it to a woman. And Steven says, and it would be tax deductible. Hey man, listen. I don't know when the going rate went from $40 to $25K per cheek. But apparently Shannon Sharp is a firm proponent of it ain't tricking if you got it. But you can't be tricking on a woman that does not remember your NFL career. Like this, like real quick. And I mean, I hate to keep harping on this, but Shannon Sharp retired from professional football in 2004. That woman wasn't even out of diapers yet. That's a bad look. That is absolutely a bad look. And I mean, you can't live a second childhood at 56 years old, bro. You can't. You need, like I said on the roundtable, you need to go down to Essence Fest. You need to get you a good woman named Yvonne, Yvette, Paula, Susie. I know a lot of old black women, and I can't remember old black women names. It's killing me right now. But you need to find you a sister who has a pension coming from the transportation department, a woman who has disposable income of her own, so she won't be charging you $25K each cheek. Y'all can go on a Tom Joyner Fantastic Voyage and live lovely. That's what you need to be looking at, Shannon Sharp. You don't need to be looking at these girls out here that be doing TikToks and talking about Cash App for a conversation. You have oh no, that's what the 25. Oh no. See, I'm thinking she's talking about 25K each cheap. I'm thinking like 50,000 for the smash package. But Adrian Crook says it's something entirely different. And no, I am not putting that on the chat. I'm sorry. Jared, Susie's my grandmother's name. That was the only one I could think of. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Let's see. Lawrence says there's Esther. Christopher Duke says Ernestine. If you know why that's funny, that's funny. If you know why that's funny between Shannon and Skip. Bernadette. Oh yeah, Bernadette Cooper, the lead singer from Climax. Maybe she's in the market for an older man. Who knows? I know a lot of young Amandas though, Lionel. I do, but yeah. Yes, yeah. Add up the transportation checks, dog. You got to get a woman that has a pension from the government. Before Elon Musk came in and ruined everybody's government pensions, you can get a woman with a nice pension now at his age and go, you can go to the concerts. I mean, you can go see you can go check out these old school tours. I know that Confunction's touring right now. I know Lakeside's about to go back out on the road. The Whispers are coming to the Dell in Philly. I'm going to that show for myself because I'm a huge Whispers fan. But yes, Shannon Sharp needs to be getting with women his age. Basically, that's the bottom line. That's the bottom line. But yes, back to Coach Scott's NIL comments before we got off the beaten path a little bit. I do like that he said that he's not running from NIL in that respect, that, that he can use it to build what Howard already is. Because when I talked to Coach Tori Tyson, the softball coach, a couple weeks ago, she said that Howard does indeed sell itself. And I can tell you now, as a Delaware State alum who used to go to Howard to cover football and basketball games in the MEAC as a young pup, I can tell you, Howard absolutely sells itself. Howard absolutely sells itself. Like, I almost thought about transferring first time I went to Howard as a undergrad. Like, I literally said, do I have to leave? Do I have to go back to Dover? Really? Okay. But I love Delaware State. Don't get me wrong. Delaware State gave me everything. It gave me a degree. It gave me a career, some friends that I still keep in touch with to this very day. But Howard University, just walking across that yard and seeing Black women from all walks of life in all parts of the country. Never forget, I met a woman from there that was from Denver, Colorado. I didn't know Black people lived in Denver, Colorado. I was like, word? Oh, okay. All right. Rocky Mountain High it is then. But yes, Howard sells itself for the most part. And that's going to lead to this second clip I got from Coach Scott, where he's talking about, how recruiting has changed with the NIL landscape.
I think for us, man, it's just a state of mind. It's something that we're going to outwork you in, no matter who you are. We pride ourselves in that, and the countless hours that we spend watching film and evaluation of talent. Obviously, we have to recruit to a brand. That is how a lot of people say a culture or a profile. I don't use the word profile. I use a brand, and when we stand on a great brand. And so if you're a student athlete that kind of fall into that category of what it is that we think it takes to be truly successful at Howard in every way, starting with community. I don't start with athletic talent and ability and those type of things. It starts with community. And from there, we talk about academics and we talk about athletic talent and all those type of things, because now, more than ever, to keep your young men in your program, you're going to have to build a strong sense of community around them each and every day. I tell our coaches, man, make sure we're recruiting our team first and foremost. So I think the biggest recruiting job we have now in keeping our talented young athletes is to recruit them on a daily basis and spending time with them. And that's why they call you coach, right? First of all. So let's make sure we're invested the right way and keep our focus around the right things. And those things, recruiting will take care of itself. But yeah, we all have our challenges in recruiting. Every school, whether you're the University of Florida in this new landscape, or you're FAMU, or you're Howard University, or you're South Dakota State. Everybody has their challenges, and what you have to do is really find the things that you're going to stand on. What are your standards? What are you looking for? And stand strong on that, 10 toes down in it every day. And center and focus your attention around that. Water your own grass each and every day, and take care of the space that you're in, and you'll be successful. Nine times out of 10, the team that believes the most is grounded and principled in the accountability that it takes to be successful at your institution each and every day. Are the teams that find success on the court, on the field, and in the community. So we're going to start there, and it's a true mindset around what you're doing. But yeah, we have our challenges, but we think about the positives, and that's what we focus on.
So, again, Coach, well, let me address this real quick from Mr. Jackson, if I may. Howard got $900 million. They need to stop crying. Well, I think we can all see that the Orange Menace is attacking a private institution in Harvard. And Harvard has a $1 billion, probably almost $1 trillion endowment. That ain't stopping the Orange Trumpkin and his cronies from attacking Harvard. So, excuse me. So Howard needs to, be careful, with how they step. I mean, it's unfortunate, but we live in a society now where there is no democracy. Democracy is dead. Let's be clear about that. Democracy is dead, bro. Like, anytime you've got media outlets capitulating to this dude's wishes, and you have institutions that are kicking out students from other countries because he doesn't want them there, democracy's dead, dog. We live in a full state fascist dictatorship, monarchy, whatever the hell you want to call it. This ain't freedom. This ain't freedom at all. And if you think they're not coming for HBCUs, we just talked about this a couple weeks ago with Florida A&M's board of trustees selling them out to a Ron DeSantis plant. They're coming for every institution. Ours are definitely on the list, but they're coming for every institution. So I just don't know how Howard can, sustain, especially considering they're right in the backyard of Washington, D.C. But I just don't know if it's $900 million is going to help them, keep kids anymore. But Howard, like I said, Howard sells itself. It's a great campus. It's a great institution. It's DC. And from what I understand, that McDonald's that used to be it's still across the way. They've just cleaned it up a little bit. But I can tell you this from experience. If you can survive eating in that McDonald's across the street from Howard, you can survive anything. because that was probably the most. See, for instance, for example, we have a very infamous McDonald's here in my residence of Wilmington, Delaware, the West 4th Street McDonald's. Like that McDonald's has seen some things. I went to the McDonald's on Florida Avenue for the first time and thought I had just walked into the absolute twilight zone. Like I had never seen anything like what was going on in that McDonald's. And this was in the early 2000s, early 2000s. So, but apparently things have changed in the last 20 or so years, I think. But, Howard, they're in a tough position. They're in the catch as catch can. I mean, yeah, you are the top of the heap in the MEAC in terms of prestige and money and alumni status and all of that, but you're still a private institution in a world that is clamping down on education. I mean, we already know what they're doing to public institutions. Private institutions aren't safe either. So it's just one of those things that we are going to have to be our strongest advocates. We're going to have to close ranks. We're going to have to be a community. And I don't think if there's anything good to come out of this mess, it will be that Black folk actually get on the same page for things once and for all. Like we can't keep, arguing back and forth about stupid things like $200 dates and who should be doing dishes and who should be paying for dates. We can't be ostracizing our LGBTQ brothers and sisters because they are Black just like we are. And they had 2 strikes on them. Because not only are they Black, they might be Black, gay, lesbian, trans, bisexual. That's 2 strikes down in the count. And you've got Randy Johnson throwing 99 miles an hour coming at you. That's basically what it is to be Black and LGBTQ. I have a sister who's a lesbian, so I can say this. I've seen what she's going through. But if there's nothing else that comes out of this message, that Black people in HBCUs, we just need to close ranks and be, a fortified unit, because that's the only way we're going to get things done. We can't be splintered. We can't afford to be splintered at this point in time. It's just not feasible at this point. We got to be together. We got to be strong, and we got to watch out for all the nonsense, all the pitfalls, all the traps, all the landmines, because there are millions of them out there. And I'm sorry to go off on a political tangent, but yeah, ODB, as a podcaster, I tell people all the time, I don't podcast about that BS. That is not my lane. I talk about music. I talk about my writing career. Don't come to my podcast thinking I'm going to talk to you about some $200 dates or going 50-50 on a date. No, that's not what I do. That's not what I do. But overall, we just need to stop worrying about the nonsense and start pulling together, because it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter which HBCU you went to. It don't matter who you go home with or lay down with at night. We all got this in common. And they hate this. It's really that simple. It doesn't get more clear and dry than that. Like, I walk out. I mean, I could walk outside right now and get crazy stares from my neighbors. Like, I've been here almost 3 years, and some of these white folk look at me like, "Who the hell are you?" I pay $11.95 a month to live here. That's who I am. Who are you? Mind your business. I'm walking. I'm trying to lose this 50 pounds I done picked up. Get off my back. But yes, I'm sorry to go off on a political tangent and a social tangent, but that's just who I am. This is what you get this is why it's the MEAC and more. We're going to talk about the MEAC, but I got more in store to talk to you guys about. You know what I'm saying? But that being said, thank you all for tuning into this edition of the MEAC and more with your boy, Chris Stevens. Greatly appreciate your time as always. Don't forget, we have the Better Than Less Than podcast with Jared Hoffman coming up this week. We got the SWAC page with Kim Rashad and Kendrick Marshall. And we've got our roundtable episode where all of us get together and we discuss all the latest and greatest news in Black college sports. If you want to subscribe to this, yes, we're getting closer to 5,000 subs, which would be great. If you can help us get to 5,000 subs, that would be greatly appreciated. Be sure to go to the YouTube channel and subscribe and become a level 1 or level 2 member for $4.99 a month. You can get all the HBCU sports news that's fit to broadcast. Be sure to follow us on all manners of social media. We are on the Musty app. We're on TikTok. We're on Threads. We're on Blue Sky. We're on Instagram. We're on Facebook. Just search for HBCU Sports. You will find us. If you would like to donate, you can go to the Zelle app and type in donate at hbcusports.com and give us some money that way. Or if you want to go straight to the website, go to hbcusports.com/donate. drop your coins there. And don't forget to subscribe to the newsletter so you can get everything that we're working on, whether it's podcasts, whether it's stories, whether it's features, all of that. It'll come straight to your inbox. And you never know, Ken Rashad might give you a t-shirt one of these days. So thank y'all for watching and kicking it with me this rainy Wednesday. I'm going to take a nap after this. So thank y'all for watching. And until the next time we speak, y'all take care of yourselves and each other. We gone.